Good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hope everyone is doing well. Seeing a few people jumping on here. We are here on the first Tuesday in November for Learning Live. Please do drop a note in the comments to say hello. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And just let me know that you can hear me, that you can see all the things. I will switch over to my desktop in just a little bit. Eyeballs are catching up now. I know I was late in getting the event set up and everything else. It's been crazy town. I for one am definitely happy that October is over. We've had a great lot of fun, but a new fresh month and new fresh ideas are always good. Thank you, Shelley, for tuning in. Again, let me know if sound is okay. Maybe just give me a thumbs up, all that good stuff. And we will start creating. So, throughout November, we are going to be talking about holiday ideas, whether it's gift giving ideas or card making. I know it's, for some people it's a little bit late for card making, but you always need cards. So, we've got that. And then tonight we are talking about counting down. One of our customers a little while ago asked us to give her some ideas for advent calendars. And, tonight we're going to be focusing on a lot of festive stuff. However, you could count down to Halloween. You could count down to a milestone birthday. You can count down to a vacation. So if you want to build excitement to a very special date, then all of these ideas that I am going to share with you tonight can and will apply if you just get a little bit creative. Shelly says the sound is good, so thank you very much for letting me know. I see Debbie, I see lots of people joining in. So let me just switch over to my other camera and let's get started. All right, there we go. So for me, it is not Christmas until there is a Grinch. I have used this on one of my samples, and maybe we'll be using this on some other stuff tonight. But I just had to have him right out there. Now, please do forgive me. There is a little bit of a delay on my camera, so if I miss something or if I feel a little bit off, then I will definitely catch up. But let me know in the comments if you have any questions as we're going along. And hopefully that we're going to, hopefully you'll get some ideas on how to do some different countdown type calendars. And calendar is kind of a loose term because we're not necessarily doing days a week. We are just focusing on numbers, but we can have lots of fun. So tonight I'm going to share with you 3 different ways that you can do countdown. The first way is creating a box using a die from Spellbinders. The second way is doing a format that you may have seen me do in the past. It is the crisscross card, and time permitting, we might do a couple of those. And then the third way is going to be taking an envelope, your standard envelope that you would put a card in, and turning it into a gift bag. So, like I said off the top, any of these can work for any occasion. You really just need to pull out your stash and use what you've got. So, I'm going to be using pattern paper tonight. I'm going to be using rub-ons. I've got cardstock. I've got number stickers. If you have number stamps, then those would work. So many different ways. I think a lot of these will really be stash buster type projects where you can just pull out what you've got in your stash and create away. Especially if you are doing a December daily or a December countdown, you're going to want to have 24 different patterns, ideas, or you could do them all the same if you've got a lot of the same thing. But December's a long month, so you want to have all of those ready. All right, so without further ado, the first thing I'm going to share with you is the Spellbinders ribbon box. So I've got a couple here. I've actually, I don't know if Ellen is watching tonight, but I know she will appreciate Halloween type things. Let me show you the die first. So this is the die. It is called the Spellbinders Ribbon Box. And the idea really is that you build this little box. It almost looks like a milk carton, but then the ribbon can wrap around and hold it closed. For this, I use my repositionable tape a lot to kind of keep that attached until you have to open it. But if you use the repositionable at the top, you can get into it and not destroy the box so that you can use it again another time. Chris was using this at our craft around a few weeks ago, and I think she was actually saying use the repositionable on the bottom. So totally up to you which way you go, but there are some different ideas. We're going to make one of these together. I do have lots more samples of these guys. Do you want to see the samples first? Let's do that. So this little series of boxes here, I've got a third one here. What I did with these is this was using scraps. So I used just a little 1x1 square punch to punch out squares of scrap paper and use that to decorate the side of the box. But then I've used my numbers on the front in order to have your countdown version for the month of December or whatever it is you're doing. I personally like to have like a little circle on the front to spotlight and kind of house the number so you always know which way kind of is the front. And then you can embellish. So this one I've embellished with a white pen. I don't know if you can see it very well. This one I used a gold pen. And again, really great way to do to use the stuff in your stash. This one here, of course, I've done it as Halloween. So if you were doing a countdown to trick-or-treating, for example, I've got the number 13 here on a black circle. And you can have them sitting out. You could string them up. You can hang them. All sorts of things you can do. And then beyond that, you can use this box in a couple different ways. So this one I used coffee paper because what's ideal, and I'll never get this bow done up properly again. So I'm going to open the Halloween one. But the nice thing about this ribbon box is it perfectly holds your K-cups. So there you go. That plops right in. And hello to all the ladies who are joining in, Joan and Roslyn and everybody else who is joining us. You haven't missed anything yet. We're just kind of showing some samples here with this ribbon box, and we're going to be making some countdown ideas. So even just as a gift giving item, this ribbon box can be very, very useful. This one I have decorated like a cuckoo clock, using the Spellbinders die. Chris and I both took two different approaches to creating more like a birdhouse. So here Chris used a wood grain paper and embellished it with some beautiful flowers. Me, on the other hand, I used cardstock. I used my favorite brick stencil and added some little birds on the front. But both of us have a little roof and lots of different ways you can embellish this sweet little box. And I will say, I need to give a shout out to my friend Nina at Creative Escape in California. Now Nina B Creates. She's the one that told me about this die. And ever since she did, I have been obsessed. Counting down to a milestone birthday. You could do a little countdown here with your candles and all of that fun stuff. And this is what we did at the craft round. Oh, my string's getting all tied up here. We turned this into a chimney. So this little box is so versatile. Let me clear up the space and let us actually make one. So with this particular one, I'm going to keep these guys out just so you remember that we are focusing on that whole countdown idea. If I put them here, can you sort of see it? You can sort of see it. So with this particular die, you do need to cut it twice, and that is going to make your box. You can cut it out of pattern paper, as I showed you. You can cut it out of cardstock. So for what we're going to make tonight, I am going to use some Spellbinders cardstock. Oh, did I show you this one? Here's my little Grinchy guy. So you can add wobblers. You can add all kinds of fun stuff to that as well. I don't know. Him with his little tongue stuck out just makes me smile. So he's going to sit up here and just watch me for the evening. All right. So with this guy, you need to cut him twice. Again, pattern paper, cardstock, you name it, you can use it. Because it's a box, you do want something that has a little bit of weight to it. But just your standard pattern paper is going to work well for you. It will also depend on what you plan to put inside of it. If you're thinking you're going to do something a little bit heavier, then you probably do want a little bit heavier cardstock in order to do that. So let's go ahead and we're going to start by cutting this paper in half because I need to do two. You can get both pieces out of an 8.5 by 11, and there is a little bit left over up the top, so you can embellish and that kind of thing. Here's my paper trimmer. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this in half. So now I've got my two pieces. Now I picked this color, and I had planned to use this set of Hero Arts transfers that we have on special buy, and I've been kind of two minds. Do I want to apply the rub-on before I die cut or afterwards? I think in order to be strategic and make sure I get them in the right spot, I'm going to die cut first. So all I need to do is grab my plates, grab my paper, and it will fit into your standard die cutting machine. The cardstock is a little bit easier because you don't have to worry about getting it straight. If you are die cutting out of pattern paper, as long as you keep them both the same way, you will be fine. So this one here, I've got, as long as your houses are going in the right direction, or choose paper that is non-directional, such as this snowflake paper. That way, if you have to be frugal or if something shifts, you're not going to worry too much about it not being perfectly straight. So let me just get this in place. Let me die cut it once. Off the camera. Yeah, it shook it a little bit, but I should still be good to go. Sorry, that's shaking everything because my die cutting machine is right here by my computer. So here's one. Why is it sticking? There we go. These are new plates, so the static is a little bit intense there. All right, so there is some scrap left over. Don't get rid of that. This little bit I'm not going to keep, but that bigger piece I will. This is just going to pop right out. Get my little tweezers. And let's do it a second time. You can see that there are nice etched lines here to make folding it super easy. And I will tell you, when we go to glue this, all you need is 3 pieces of tape. Super easy, super quick to put together. Definitely one of those things that, if you're watching a movie, or, I did a lot of die cutting watching the Blue Jay games. If you've got things where you're just sitting watching TV, these things are really easy to assemble and mass produce. So again, if you're making 24, 25 of these in order to do a December countdown, then you can really just, you can power through and pump them out very, very quickly. All right. Let's get this one popped out. And again, there's little scraps here that I can keep, little scraps that I'm not going to worry about keeping. Get my pattern paper out of the way. Oh, don't fall off the table though, pattern paper. All right. So this, in case you were wondering, this is Breeze by Spellbinders. This one was Windy, which is a little bit more purple. but two really gorgeous, gorgeous colors in the color wheel palette. I don't need this anymore. Now that I've got this all ready to go, let's see where we're going to put some rub-ons. So one of these is going to be the front. And it really, you know, everything is symmetrical in the end, so you don't really have to worry too much about that. But I do like it with the little handles going up the sides as opposed to going this way. So I know that I want one of these two panels to be my front. I'm going to arbitrarily pick this one. I'm going to use a pencil and just write an F there. That way I know I don't have to cover it up. And I do have some pre-cut circles left over from another project, so that's going to go on right there. So let's do some rub-ons here. This square, if I remember correctly, is about 2 1/4. Looking like 2 3/8, but we're gonna plan that it's 2 1/4 by 2 1/2. So it is not actually perfectly square, but I think if I cut around some of these snowflakes, we can do some fun stuff. You know what? Because I want some of this silver as well. This is not how I typically do rub-ons, but I'm actually going to use my paper trimmer. So 2 1/2 was the height, like so. And then I've got one here at 2 1/2. As long as that snowflake is still kind of showing, it can be a little bit bigger. That's for one side. Let's do the other side. Still got little bits left over that I can use for something else. And then, you know what, let's come down here and get this little guy down here. So 2 1/2. So that's going to cut all the way through there. So let's go back to the usual way. But I do want some of that silver. So I'll make sure I'll get that. There we go. That way I save that, that big snowflake in the middle. All right. So let's take this one here and just place it down within those little openings. Give it a little rub so it sticks. These ones don't have the popsicle stick, so I'm just going to use my bone folder. Give everything a really nice rub. Get that little snowflake at the top. And let's see how that worked. Nope, that little first one didn't come up. With rub-ons, it's always best to be careful, to test before you peel the whole thing out. One doesn't see, oh, there we go. And if you've got resistance, if you see stuff peeling up, go ahead and just put it back down and rub it back into place. Rub-ons are super forgiving. Some of these little silver bits aren't sticking. There we go. Look at that. How pretty is that? Okay. And now I'm going to go over to the other piece and add the other two rub-ons. And I think I should be able to put them both down at the same time. And let's see what happens here. All right. Start with my finger, make sure everything's stuck, and then if you don't have rub-ons, you could get out your stamps. If you've got snowflake stamps and do a random stamping pattern, in that case, I probably would go ahead and stamp the whole paper before I die cut. See, look at that. Oh, that looks spectacular. Oh, I'm so happy with that. And then, so look how pretty. Okay, so now I've got, my 3 sides. Everything's decorated. Do I want to put some things up here? I probably could go in and, fussy cut around some of the silver ones. Definitely your decorating is best done while everything is flat. Much harder once everything is built. But until you glue things, you could still assemble and then keep it flat. So we do still have time. But really, when in doubt, decorate it first. Let's fold along our score lines. So every fold except for one fold is folding away from you. So I'm going to fold this one away from me. I'm going to fold this one away from me. And again, once you are assembly lining these, you are going to find that you find yourself a rhythm on this. Fold that one away. Fold that one away. This one is away. This one is away. The only fold that's going to come towards you is this one at the top for the top of the handle. That one's going to come towards you. So there's the first one, and we're just going to do the same thing over here on the second one. I'm not going ahead and burnishing my folds, but you absolutely could. Just be careful with the rub-ons that you don't burnish too hard, or you could actually remove that rub-on. So, okay, so everything is folded. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip them over. No, I'm going to keep them this way. So here's where we want to put tape. On this side here, which is the front, we're going to put 2 pieces of tape. We're going to put 1 piece here on this little tiny sliver, and we're going to put 1 piece here right at the bottom of this bottom tab. Over here on the second one, we're only going to put tape on this little sliver, not on the bottom. 3 pieces of tape, and Bob is your uncle or Santa Claus, whichever way you want to put it. All right, so a little bit of tape here. And then, like I said, a little bit of tape right along the bottom. And then over here on this one, we've got 1 little piece of tape on that little fold. That's it. That is it for adhesive on these ribbon boxes. Now go ahead and give it a little burnish with your fingers just to make sure everything is sticking. And now what we're going to do is flip it over so that the inside is showing. And that's another thing that I should call your attention to is if you are making this with pattern paper, you do want to try to have the inside of you, so have both sides of your paper be pretty. I know a number of our papers have, the cut apart sheets on the back. If you don't care what the inside looks like, or if you're going to fill it with tissue or something like that, then definitely use whichever paper you want. But if you think that the recipient is going to see the inside of the box, you want to make sure that both sides are pretty. And I think it's pretty frequent that the B side is usually a fairly random pattern, so you don't have to worry about directionality. And if you got the directionality on the front, odds are the directionality on the inside is going to be the same as well. So just little things I have learned over the years. Okay, with our little pieces like this, there's one of our little tabs here in the center. I'm going to fold it in so that I see the tape. I'm going to peel that backing. Get rid of that liner. And then I'm going to butt these guys up against each other. So far my flap is still standing up here. Make sure this crease is nice and even. Make sure your bottom crease is nice and even. And I'm just going to fold that flap down. So now that has made this great big long piece of box. The next fold tends to be the hardest one unless you follow this particular tip. So we're going to take the far right panel, fold it into the middle. we're going to take the far left panel, fold it into the middle. And actually, you want that little tab on the inside. So I did that a little bit backwards. So the one with the tab first, then the one here. Notice that everything is lining up perfectly. So all you then have to do is peel your little liner. Your tab is out. That goes down. And your box is perfectly folded. Now, before I go and do this, I realize I have forgotten to do my front. So let me just take one of my little circles here. Of course, my glue is dried out now that I'm on camera. And that little F that I wrote for front is going to disappear. It's going to hide underneath. And my little rub-ons are sticking to my glass mat here. If you're finding that those rub-ons are sticking, just take your powder tool and you can give them a little fluffy fluff. What am I going to do for numbers? I have some red number stickers here, and let my favorite number, actually, in honor of one of my new favorite Blue Jays, number 22, Ernie Clement, let's do this for the 22nd. So I'm just going to add my little numbers here. Yes, I know Matt has said I'm not allowed to talk about baseball anymore, but we can still honor those guys. So there's 22. You can further embellish with gems. We could go back in and add some more rub-ons if we wanted to, but you know, sometimes less is more as well. Okay. To finish this guy up, what we're going to do is, here's our piece with the tape, which is on the front. Our two side pieces are going to overlap in the middle. The back piece is going, oh no, the front piece is going to go down with the tape peeled. Maybe. There we go. All right, so the center pieces are in. The front piece is going to go down. And you really just want to be careful you're not going on like angles. Try and keep that nice and straight so that this can go in straight. And there you go. Give it a little push from the inside. And then to close it, your little flaps can go in, your handles can go in, and that's where you would then wrap your ribbon around. I think I was showing you. So this one here, I've wrapped the ribbon all the way around and through that little hole. One of the other ones, this one here, my little birdhouse. If you don't have a lot of ribbon, you can just do it through the top. I also, with the little roof, didn't want to have the ribbon go all the way through, so you can just put it right at the top too. Yeah, so super easy. And again, you can get your stencils out, get your stamps out, and just have so much fun. And like I said, the last thing I would do is use just a little bit of repositionable tape, kind of on the sides there, maybe a little bit at the top, so that you can close it nicely. Get those little holes lined up. Like so. The repositionable tape keeps it closed, but when they want to go and open that day, it just peels open. So that's one thing you can do for a countdown. And you can decorate it as much or as little as you choose. How'd you like that one? So these ones definitely are more dimensional. You'd want something to display these on. You could string, I'm going to call it a clothesline, but you could string like a ribbon or a garland or something. Either thread it through here or just attach them with, say, clothes pegs. Go to the dollar store, buy clothes pegs, get your stickles out, decorate them so they're all blingy, and then you can use those to hold the boxes and count down towards December or towards Christmas. Whoops. Okay, so that's idea number one. How are we doing for time? Oh, we're good. We're good. We're good. Okay, find my little box here. I will put those away. And again, don't forget you can do Halloween as well, or any of those occasions that you might be counting down towards. Okay, those are off to the side. Option number two is what I affectionately call, or what I learned to call, a crisscross card. And if I move quickly, we should be able to do two. So this is the paper I was going to use for the second one. And then these are the two pieces of paper I'm going to use for the first one. Let me see, I've got a Post-it note here so I can do some measurements for you. And what you need is your paper. Can be pattern paper, can be cardstock. This one I'm just going to do pattern paper. The second one will do cardstock. And once you learn how this one works, you can adjust your sizes in so many different ways that it becomes very versatile. Now, I'm just seeing Kathy's comment. Kathy, you must be tuning in late. The die for the box was the ribbon box die from Spellbinders. We do still have this in stock, and this is the die. That's all there is to it. You cut it twice, and away you go. Okay. So for this guy here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a 12-inch strip that is 4 inches high. So it's going to be 4 by 12. Hopefully you can see that. I'll try and write bigger next time. And I'm using the same beautiful pattern paper from Simple Vintage Flannel Season because I thought he worked really well with the Grinch. So we'll use him as well. So let's do 4 inches by 12. The first way to do this is to, what we're going to do is we're going to score this in thirds. So I'm going to score at 4 and I'm going to score at 8. So score at 4 inches and at 8 inches. And that's going to give us thirds. The houses are going to be on the outside. So I'm going to have my score marks. I've got that outside facing up here, but it doesn't really matter. So there's 4 inches there. And because I'm too lazy right now to open my arm, I'm just going to flip it the other way and do it at 4 again. So as long as you're cutting your paper in thirds, you are in good shape. So you could do 3, 3, 3. If your piece was only 9 inches long, you could do it in threes. As long as you're doing it in thirds, you are good. So if I fold this along my score line here and my score line here, I now have 3 panels. This is going to be my back. These are going to fold over in the front. So what I want to do is I want to cut on the diagonal from the fold line to the outside corner, from the fold line to the outside corner. You'll see what I mean when I do it. So my fold line here is going to go on my track. The bottom corner here is going to go on my track. Close that up, cut it off, and we've got an extra triangle that you can put aside. Over here, we're going to do the same thing. So fold line at the top, corner at the bottom. Like so. And we've got a second triangle that we're not going to use. Get the trimmer out of the way. So now you've got this funky little shape. We're going to flip it over. This is going to fold in like this. This is going to fold in like this. And so it makes almost like a little pocket. And again, this is a very versatile format. You could use this as a pocket on a layout or in a traveler's notebook. But you could also use it, as we are doing tonight, for a countdown style thing. My concept is, because I know what's going on in my head, but I haven't articulated it yet, is that you would have a pocket for every single day of the month. And instead of having treats or something dimensional inside, you would have a little journaling card that you would pull out and there would be an activity. So maybe it's make cookies today, Christmas cookies today. Maybe it's go tobogganing today. Maybe it's go visit Santa today. You want to have a different activity or experience that you're going to do each day. And then you can then document that in your December daily if that is something that you do. I need to get my skinny tape. So for this one, because it's a little pocket, I really want to use my skinniest tape to give me enough room in here to tuck things in. So all I'm going to do is put tape along the bottom on this triangle and on the bottom of this triangle. Again, super easy, not a lot of tape required. And this gives us lots of leeway to tuck things in. If you were super generous, maybe you were making this for a grandchild or something, and maybe an older grandchild, you could, in theory, put gift cards in the pocket for each day. Maybe it's just little $5 gift cards or scratch tickets or something like that. And if you were giving this to a friend, you could put tea bags in. It does need to be somewhat flat, but you have a little bit of flexibility for something a little bit more. Now, it does not matter whether you do left then right or right then left. I'm going to do the left one first, just because that's going to fold over. And then I will do the right one. Do a little fold over, burnish your edges. There's your little pocket. Now the opening here is 4 inches wide by 4 inches tall. I'm going to cut out of the snowflake paper. I'm going to cut a piece that is, I'm going to do 3 3/4, just so you've got room to play in here, but I do want it to stick up a little bit. So I'm going to do it by 4 1/4. Worst case, if it's too big, you can always cut it down a little bit further, but let's see how that works out. Paper trimmer over here. Both sides of my paper are non-directional, so I can afford to go in any direction. This one's going to be 3 3/4 this way, and then 4 1/4. You know what? Just for fun, I'm going to do 4 1/2 because maybe I want it even a little bit taller. But now this is going to tuck. Oh, I like that. So that was 3 3/4 by 4 1/2. But it gives you just a little bit of play there. And then it really just comes down to decorating how you want to use this. I'm going to take one of my little Grinchy Grinches. I like this little guy right here. Is that the same one I used? No, it's a different one that's on the box there. So he can just tuck right here. Maybe I'll even use some foam squares. Just be careful as you're adhering this. If it goes over the edge, you don't want to glue it down so that it prevents your pocket from opening. So he can go here. And then I'm going to grab one of my little circles. This is going to go at the top like this. So just want it glue on the bottom half. That's going to go up here. And like I said, if you wanted to write an experience, you could put a little piece of white paper here to write on it. You could, again, you could write on a piece, use the repositionable paper so you can reuse this again. But then that's just going to tuck in. Again, you can put them in a little box like the Elizabeth Craft memory decks boxes, or even just a little, don't want to say shoebox. Shoebox will be too big, but you could get a little tray or something like that. And then what else do I have for numbers? Oh. Nope. I was going to say I've got these green guys, these gorgeous green guys, but there's no numbers. No numbers. These sparkly ones have numbers. Definitely dig into your stash. Pull out the stuff that you haven't been using. So here, let's do number 12. 1 and 2. And that is how your countdown can be built. Much like those ribbon boxes, once you've got the system down, very easy to assembly line and get that put together. And you could absolutely mix and match all kinds of different papers. Maybe you have a collection pack that they're all going to coordinate, but they're all going to be a little bit different and have lots of fun. Because you can adjust the size, it is very easy to maximize your papers. And so for this one here, for example, we could get 3 days just out of one sheet of paper. But you're saying, Sheri, you told me that I can make them in any size I want. So this one was a square. Absolutely. We are now going to do one that is going to be a standard A2 card size. So when it's all folded down, it's going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So if for whatever reason you wanted to mail, now maybe not for a countdown, but if you wanted to put this in the mail, you could put it in an envelope. Now I'm going to use this paper here. I need to pull a cardstock. I forgot to grab cardstock. I like this green, so let me grab some green here. Of course I'm using green. It's PCW colors. So for this, we're going to do the same thing with a twist. So I'm showing you some flexibility here. The first one we did where we had a big long strip, we scored it in thirds, and then we cut and folded the flaps inside. This one, you're going to say, well, what happens if I don't have enough to do thirds? Here's what we're going to do. So, too many things, too many ideas. All right, do we need another piece of paper, Post-it note? Absolutely. So our folded size is going to be an A2 card size. We're going to use the same dimensions for our folded paper. So we are going to have a piece of cardstock that is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. This is going to help us make a vertical pocket. So just like you are creating a folded card, we're going to cut this at 5 1/2. So it's 8 1/2 by 5 1/2. Loop. Then I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to score in half this time, not in thirds. Score in half. So we're scoring at 4 1/4. Get that out of the way. This one is much easier. This way of doing things is much easier with cardstock, so you don't have to worry about directionality. So I'm scoring it this way. And now I have 2 halves. How do I get my crisscross? Watch. We are going to cut from the top of the fold to the bottom corner, just like we did with the square, but we're only going to do it the one time. So let's get everything lined up. This fold line, the bottom corner, and we're going to cut. So last time what we did is we took this triangle and we threw it away. Not so this time. This time what we're going to do is that is going to be flap number 1. Watch this. Flip. And now we have flap number 2. So we're still doing the same kind of idea, except this one is a separate piece we're adding on as opposed to folding it. Have I blown your minds? It's pretty awesome. Now, the one thing with this is if we want to decorate and add pattern paper on this, we do need to do that before we assemble. So I'm going to cut a piece here that is 4 1/4, or sorry, I'm going to go a little bit smaller. So I'm going to do 4 by 5 1/4. And because so the back of my paper is cut aparts. Those are not too pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this twice. So that was 5 1/4. I'm going to do it at 4. And I'm going to do it at 4 again. This piece is left over. Now, one of these we want to go top left to bottom right. The other one we want to go top right to bottom left. That's just going to allow us to get our 2 triangles the way they are here. So if you happen, so if we use, say, this piece here and you've got a different pattern on the back, but directionality doesn't matter, you could just use one piece. But because I want these both to be the same, that is why I need 2 pieces. And all I would do is then make another card. Oh, no, because I have to flip that way. I would make another card using the opposite triangle. So you still can kind of get two cards out of each piece of paper. Okay. Hopefully I haven't lost you yet. It all makes sense in my head. Hopefully it makes sense in your head as well. So these were 4 by 5 1/4, cut on opposite diagonals so that they can go onto here with a little bit of a border. And we're doing all of this before we assemble, because if you try to tuck it, if you try to put this pattern paper on after it's glued, you won't have any luck. So there's number 1. Here's number 2. Like so. And then here's how we tape. So with the original one, we only needed tape on those 2 bottom pieces. Same goes with this one here. Wrong tape. Wrong tape. Where's my skinny tape? So across the bottom here. On this piece, because we need to kind of make that fold, we've got to do our long side and our bottom on this one. So like an L shape. And once again, it does not really matter which piece goes down first. I tend to like to put the loose piece on first so that this can fold over, and that fold gives it a little bit more reinforcement, but you can do it the other way too. It really does not impact how this is put together. All right, so there we go. And we'll peel this one. And look at that. Oh, and look at how nicely that lined up too. Almost looks like a little V-neck sweater. So last but not least, you would then cut yourself a tag. Again, you want it a little bit smaller than that 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I could even just take this piece here that I've got. Because there is tape here on this side instead of the fold like we had on the previous one, you do want to go even a little bit smaller than what you would on the other one, and it may be offset a little bit, but nobody's going to notice. So I'm going to totally cheat. I'm just going to grab my trimmer now. It's already in there, and let's do our cut. I just eyeballed it, and now our little tag is there. And once again, you can decorate, you can embellish, you can put your little circle on the top to create that a countdown element. So that is a vertical crisscross. 100% you could do it wider and fatter. Play around with it. It is a super fun format that can really take you far from a functionality standpoint. So that is the crisscross card. And all right, I think I've got about 10 minutes left to show you the last one. Everyone like that one so far? That is fun. And again, get out your die cuts, get out your stickers, get out all of those things that are in your stash. I hear very often people come in and they say, oh, but I have so much Christmas stuff. Now is the time to use it. It is absolutely the time to use it with these countdown ideas. And these guys, I mean, they're nice and flat. So you could really make a nice stash. You could make them as gifts and have a lot of fun with those ideas. Okay, last one. The last idea, let me make sure I find all my pieces. There they are. The last idea we are going to tackle tonight is using envelopes. Much like the crisscross card, any size of envelope will work. So I have a number 10 envelope here. I have this one here that is, what is it? It is 6 by 9, 6 by 9, 6 by 8.5. It's a nice big envelope. I've got this 5 by 7 in here. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take these envelopes and turn them into little teeny tiny gift bags. And so this one here I did for our Halloween friends, and you could do 13 days of Halloween. Or again, we're talking about Christmas right now, so you get a bunch of envelopes and you could make 24 days. Lauren says this is one way to use up paper, 100%. I think, just for argument's sake, excuse me, let me grab some water first. I'm going to go with the craft one, just because it'll match the paper that I've picked and give you a slightly different look. So what you have to do is you have to take your envelope and you have to seal it. Now you could just lick and stick. If you're doing 25 of these, this might start to taste a little icky. So I'm going to go ahead and use my tape. Now, if you are using an envelope that is like this, where you've got little edges on the side, I would like you to tape your edges as well. If you've got one like this, where it is the V-shaped, put your tape on both sides. You want this flap to be completely sealed down for us to use it. So I've got my score tape. I'm going to do a little strip here. I'm going to do a little strip here. And then I'm going to go all the way across. As close to the edge as possible, but all the way across. And then we're going to peel and stick it all together so it is just like a sealed envelope. And you're saying, but Sheri, don't we have to stuff it? Don't we have to put things inside? Nope, not yet. We need to build our little gift bag first, and then we will decorate and stuff it. Don't know where that little string came from, but all right. So now we have a perfectly, completely sealed envelope. Once again, any size will work. It'll just give you some slightly different dimensions with your little bag. I am going to grab my scoreboard this time instead of, or not, because this is not going to be long enough. I'm going to grab my trimmer. Whatever you have to score is going to work. Now, what I am going to do with this is I am going to score, and my preferred measurement, what I tend to do most often is a 1/2 inch. Actually, this one is a little bit bigger, so I'm going to do 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to score 3/4 of an inch down this side, 3/4 of an inch down this side, and 3/4 of an inch across the bottom. You can choose any measurement you want. If you want a little bit more room in your bag, go bigger. If you want a nice, slim, not very deep bag, go smaller. I wouldn't necessarily go less than 1/4 of an inch, but you've got some play. The only caveat I will tell you is that you need to be the same on all 3 sides. If you're not the same on all 3 sides, you're going to have a wonky looking box or bag. You are not going to score the top. So right side, bottom, left side is all you're going to do. So let's get this at the 3/4 of an inch mark. And don't cut, score 3/4 of an inch. Then I rotate. I'm going to do 3/4 of an inch at the bottom. Scoring tool, not cutting tool. Rotate one more time, 3/4 of an inch. So now I have this funky looking shape where I've got my top, but then I've got score lines on 3 sides. Oh, look at that. I got a little too overzealous with my score lines. I cut right through the paper. That is something that you do need to be careful. So let's just start again. Let's go. Yeah, let's go with the big one. Go big or go home, right? Let me do this super quick. Do not score too hard. Those are important lines, so it's not like I can even fix them. You want those folds to be crisp without being shredded like I did. All right, let's try again. Not so hard this time. Okay, so 3/4 of an inch. There we go. Not too, that one's now looking really faint. All right, rotate 3/4 of an inch. And 3/4 of an inch. All right, easy peasy. We pretend that didn't happen. Okay, so you've got a score line here, a score line here, and a score line here. You're sealed at the top. Here is where we reopen our box. You can just take a paper trimmer and cut across. You can do what I did on this one, which was use my Tim Holtz decal trimmer and cut across. Or you could go rogue, you can go freehand, and you can just tear it. So all I'm doing is tearing the top of my oval. This is the score line is down here. This is the side that was not scored. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and fold on these score lines, both directions, just so I can see them. And then a little origami is going to happen. So I've folded on all 4 sides. With my tearing at the top, I want to turn this from an outie to an innie. So this one here, I'm going to push. So right now it's pointing out. I'm going to push it so that it's pointing in. And try and get it as far down as you can. The first couple of times you're going to have to kind of play with this and figure out how it works. Don't worry about this just yet. We're going to do the same on the other side. Turn it from an outie to an innie. And bring those folds together. Now you're going to open it up. This piece here is going to be your bottom. And you've got these two funky triangles on the end. Come on. Play nice. So got a little triangle here, a little triangle here. Those are going to fold down and just get glued on the bottom of your box. And again, this is where you're just going to have to kind of manipulate a little bit. Make sure everything is working, making sure your seams are going inside. Now again, once you've got it kind of the way you like it, this is where you then may want to open it up again, lie it flat to decorate it. And if I take my ruler, my opening here is now a little bit short of 4.5. And I can make it a little bit short of 6.5. And you know what? I'm actually going to go 6 just so that I can maximize my paper. So I'm going to cut a piece that is 4 by 6. 4 by 6. My paper is non-directional, so it does not matter which direction I go in. 4. The 6 will now allow me to have a piece on the front and a piece on the back if I want to. And because the top of this is torn, I'm just going to mirror that and just tear. Keep that torn look working together. Let's do this one. And then with my tape runner, you could ink this. For the interest of time, I'm not going to ink my edges, but you totally could. And now I'm going to center this in this opening. Actually going to put it down just a little bit lower, because what I can do is shorten this up a little bit. Just so everything matches a little bit better. Here's where we had our flap. It's going to disappear because it's going to get covered up by our pattern paper. Try to get it straight. There we go. And now let's rebuild. Outies to innies. Create those little points. And this is why it's important that that whole piece got stuck down so that you don't have too many extra bits hanging off. There we go. A little bit of glue. Smoosh that down. I think I got a little overzealous with my glue, but it'll dry. Sorry, I'm not on camera. There we go. And it makes kind of that boxy little gift bag. So lastly, you could use, so I've got these numbers from Simple Stories that I could pop a number on there. I'm actually going to use, I've got these pretty stickers here. I'm just going to put my number down here in the bottom corner. So let's do a 1. And just to keep the colors the same, I've got the 16. I can put a Grinchy Grinch, nice big Grinch on here. Oh, this is a really big one. Look at him. Oops, come down. So let's get some foam squares. We'll pop him up. And then you can use this little gift bag. You could put a little ribbon handle on it. You can fill it with candies or maybe even craft supplies. But look at that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if you had 24 little Grinch bags just lined up on your mantle? How cute is that? So there you go. 3 different ways to create little delivery systems for your Advent countdown. This actually has a cute little name. It is called a bagalope. It is a bag made from an envelope, and you can manipulate it. And again, so we started with that sealed envelope. If you wanted it to go more this way, you would just do your score lines here and have this as your opening. So very flexible, very versatile. We have our crisscross cards, which I've already lost here in my stash of stuff. So those are our bagalopes. Those are our crisscross cards. And then we had all the way over here, we had our ribbon boxes. So here is my challenge to you. Let me, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to leave this here so you can see all the goodness that we made tonight. Here is my challenge for you. Pick one of these techniques, maybe search on Pinterest for other techniques, and get out your stash of Christmas paper. We all have Christmas paper that we need to use up. Pick a system and create 24 of the same item and create your own Advent. Whether it's something to put things in, whether it's just, creating memories and experiences, the possibilities really are endless. Shelley says her brain is spinning right now with all the possibilities. Absolutely. The key thing is make a date with yourself. I think I'm gonna switch my camera just so I can go eye to eye with you guys. Because this is a do as I say, not as I always do, but I'm now committing. I'm committing to you guys as well. Make a date with yourself. Pick an afternoon. Find your favorite Hallmark movie. Find your favorite Christmas movie. I have 2 favorite Christmas movies. Jim Carrey's The Grinch and Spirited, which is a newer movie with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. Dreamy, musical, fabulous. Pick your favorite movie. Get out your Christmas paper and make a date with yourself to create. The holiday season is going to get super busy and you need to make time for yourself so you don't get stressed, so that you can truly enjoy the Christmas spirit and have lots of fun. So have a wonderful rest of your evening. Have a great month of November. We'll be back next week with some more ideas. And if you make something based on one of our lives, definitely share it in our Papercrafts Inner Circle. We love to see what you make, what twists you make, what creative choices you make, and we look forward to seeing it. Have a great night, everyone. Take care.